Rayya Ghul.
So just start off, my name is Rayya, and it rhymes with liar, so that'll help you remember it. So first thing I'm going to say is how fascinating, to my inner freak. So when you got up this morning, when you woke up and when you got up this morning, you probably didn't realise that you were going to put your greatest superpower into action, and that's doing. So what I'm going to share with you today is some of the insights that I've gained from my work as an occupational therapist and as an occupational therapy lecturer. The things that you did this morning, that probably you bathed, almost definitely you dressed, and you made your way here, they may seem to you kind of ordinary, familiar things that you probably do automatically without thinking about them. And they are things which we take very much for granted, obviously, until some of the things maybe go wrong. What I'm kind of thinking about is that the things that we do are the things that take us to another time. They take us to another place. One of the things, there's three things I'm going to share with you today. The first thing about doing, which I think is something worth sharing, is that it's very complex. And the reason it's complex is that there are three things really that make up doing. The first thing is that we do things with our bodies, and our bodies obviously are made up of lots of different parts, and it's the site of our emotions and it's the site of our thoughts. And the thing about our bodies that's really amazing is that it is designed to do so many different things. Our bodies can move in all sorts of directions and can coordinate in lots of different ways. Something as simple just as dressing requires all sorts of body movements, and large ones and really quite tiny ones, and all of that coordination is extremely complex. And we don't kind of think about it until it goes wrong. I mean, if you've ever hurt your fingers, or perhaps you've broken a limb, you might have an idea of what that means to just doing ordinary tasks. And we have lots of things about our body that help us to do things in quite extraordinary ways. For example, at the ends of our fingertips, we have sensors which allow us to recognise objects without looking at them, by touch. And that sense is something which helped me to do up my zip this morning, helped me to put on my necklace. And if you have a stroke, you can lose that sense. Then you can't find your keys in your handbag anymore. You can't find things in your pocket and recognise them. So these things we have this incredible, finely tuned doing machine at our disposal. The second thing that is really amazing and complex about doing is that there are so many different things to do. Now, I've put this word up, occupations. That's what occupational therapists call the things that we need and want to be able to do. It's our name for it. That's why we're called occupational therapists. But it is just really the things that we want to do, the things that we need to do, the things that we do in a day. And there are so many different things to do. And we have invented so many different things to do, way beyond what we need to do in terms of our survival as human beings. This kind of tells us something interesting about ourselves. We hate being bored, and we want new things to do all the time. So we've invented things like art and skateboarding and religion and so on. Lots of different things that we like to do. The other thing about doing, which I think is quite fascinating, is we're very, very fussy about things that we do. We're very fussy about the way we like to do them. So, for example, if you want to have a cup of tea, some people will have loose tea in a pot, other people will have a tea bag in a mug. What about toothpaste? Toothpaste, do you squeeze it out through the middle, or do you roll it up? Marriages can turn very quickly to divorces in terms of differences about how things should be done. So that kind of points to a very, very intensely personal relationship that we have with doing. The other thing which makes things we doing very complex, is that they take place in an environment. And that environment can be an enabler or a barrier to the things that you want and need to be able to do. And if we have a look around, we'll just think about where we are and all the buildings around us. We've created them to do things in. They're there because we have such a big drive to do that we've created lots and lots of different spaces to do things in. So we've created churches, we've created workplaces, we've created factories, we've created roller coasters, we've created shopping malls, all of these amazing spaces to do things in. So the other thing about doing is that it gives our life meaning. And it gives our life meaning because when we do things, it helps to form our identity. The things that we do give us a sense of who we are. It gives us labels by which we can call ourselves. And it also points to attributes that we have. It's not always a positive thing. Sometimes the things we do give us a sense that we can't do things. We might think, I'm not very good at maths, for example. But it also gives us a sense of some of the attributes that we might have, things like confidence. They come through doing. Assertiveness, they come through doing. And also, some of the things that people might say about us, like whether you're reliable. Reliability comes from doing what you say you're going to do. Actions speak louder than words. Closely aligned to that is the roles that we inhabit. If you group tasks together, they form the roles that we do in our life. They also give us identity. We've got lots of different roles. Within our family, for example, we might have a role as a parent, might be a breadwinner, we might be the homemaker, we might be the moody teenager. In our communities, we might be the friend, we might be a volunteer, we might be a pastor. There may be many different roles that we can take there. And then in society, in wider society, we've got some big roles, like lawmaker or scientist or even criminal might be a role that we take. So the thing about meaning and why I think the doing and the meaning, because it brings us into being. And one of the things about meaning is that we really want meaning. We're meaning-making animals. We want to have a story that we can tell about ourselves. And those stories, those narratives of our lives and who we are very, very important to us. And that's why, as an occupational therapist, I would say that we have, there's a big link between the things we do and our health and well-being. And being able to do the things that you need and want to be able to do are a source of health and well-being. And of course the opposite is true as well. If those things are taken away from us, the loss can be quite severe. If you lose your job, you lose your role, you can lose identities. When children grow up and leave home, sometimes people feel that their role as a parent or maybe their identity as a mother or father is no longer available. And that can be a source of sadness. And also, if you think about people who lose mobility, maybe they become a wheelchair user. Obviously, losing the function of your body is distressing, but actually from working with people, what we find is that it's the potential loss of roles and of meaning in their life, which makes it additionally distressing. And that's actually where my profession of occupational therapists come in, because we are experts in doing, and we appreciate the importance of the doing to people's meaning of their lives. And therefore, when we work with people to restore their ability to do the things that they want and need to be able to do, it is very much about restoring that meaning. The last thing that I wanted to share with you about doing is that it's transformative. And this I find really exciting. This phrase, doing, being, becoming, was coined by an occupational therapist called Anne Wilcock. It's not mine, and so I want to give her credit for that. But I've thought about, this is something I've thought about for an awful long time, that there is this incredible dynamic aspect to being a human, which is that when we do things, we are bringing ourselves into being. We have an experience of who we are. And when we bring that person into being, then that is who we become in that moment. It's a transformative cycle, especially if we do something new. and a bit out of our comfort zone, like a TED Talk, for example. That's going to change my life, probably. It's a transformative experience. But it doesn't have to be that dramatic. Just doing something will always give you an experience of being. It'll give you feedback from the world. It'll give you feedback from other people. It'll give you feedback from yourself as well. And that is transformational. When we do something, something is transformed. It also ripples out to other people. So when we're doing things and it's affecting other people, it's like we're in this amazing web of doing. It tells us something about our essential nature, I think, as transformational beings. We are, in a sense, all of us together, bringing the world into being every time we do anything. All of us together. We're kind of creating reality through all of our actions all the time. Just do a little mental experiment. Just think about if everybody in the world just stopped doing all together at the same time. So, there's something about our essential nature as transformative beings, this doing, being, becoming. It is all of it is all of us. There is a sense in which that is the human being, or perhaps we should call ourselves human doing, being, becomings. So, I'm going to leave you with this thought when you get up tomorrow morning. What are you going to do? Thank you.